All right, we're back here. Tell me a little bit about how you got into game development.
Well, I can give you the whole classic. I've played, this console with this game. Actually, I was very big into animation.
Okay.
I actually started doing a lot of stop motion animation when I was in high school. And gaming was always a passion of mine. And my parents never let me play any of the Halo games or any of the shooter games. So I played more of the cartoony, game, those kind of games. Love cartoons, I don't know if you can tell. But it was only when I went to college I was like, okay, this actually merged perfectly. I played a lot of Earthbound. I played a lot of those kind of quirky little cartoony kind of games. Those are one of my favorites. And I'd say when I went to college, I wanted to do 3D animation. And when we took a game class together, that's when I was like, wow, this is something that I can apply the stuff I want to do with my geeky love for games anyways. So it was a nice little merge. So I think it was when we started college. I was like,
in high school I started off, I was big into the computer science area, so that's where my programming background comes. And I've always been I've always drawn on the side and just draw things, draw realistic more than cartoons. But basically seeing that in college when I programmed and then I went into looking at 3D modeling and 3D art, I was like, this is kind of fun. So I ended up taking independent study and did some stuff with some 3D software for a semester in high school, and then finding it at college at Metro, it was right there, 3D art, and that's what I started with. And then taking game design, I was like, the 3D art, you have to animate every frame. With game design, it's like I make one walk cycle, and then I just repeat it. So it's way easier, and I understood the programming aspect of it. I just had to look it up and stuff, and then by that we just continued.
I think what was really cool and was really eye-opening for me is when we just had to collaborate on a project. Mm-hmm. I had the freedom to just draw whatever and animate whatever. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like he was able to put anything I drew, anything I animated into this coherent little, game space. And the results were just, that's kind of why we started what we started now, is because it just worked so well. I didn't have to worry about, programming and stuff. I get to just do the art, the stuff I wanted to do, and then he got to do what he wanted to do, and it just worked perfectly. I think if there was any other way, I probably wouldn't be in games. I'd actually probably do more animation or that you're a freelance artist. But since, I'm able to pretty much, create a creature here, and then, a week later, or a couple days later, it seems like he'll put it in there. Instant results. I'm like, this is awesome. This is why I like making games.
So after being in the business for, you guys said, what, about 2 years roughly?
Yeah.
Do you feel that the education that you went through, now that you've been in it for 2 years, helped you out, or would there have been a better way to go about getting the experience to do what you want to do?
In the Midwest, there isn't really that much to for anyone really, especially what I do. When I went to Metro, I had a lot of brilliant mentors. I had a lot of brilliant teachers, and I learned things that weren't, or probably not even taught in a game focused course. I had a brilliant storyboard teacher, and through the principles of good character development, how to convey a story, how to do this and this, you can really apply to game design. We also got very fortunate. We had a brilliant professor who taught us game theory. So game theory coupled with the animation and your traditional storyboarding and stuff like that, I was able to do what I do without going out of state. And because oftentimes I hear a lot of the online schools, you don't actually get a lot, of the necessary things, to make games. And Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tutorials out there. I've watched plenty of tutorials because there's a lot of stuff out there, and I feel that just go ahead and take classes at your college of your preference, really. But what it boils down to is having that mentor in your life who knows how to make games or knows this or that can really teach you that thing.
You can only read so much in a book, or, to actually having feedback and actually having someone that gives you feedback is great.
I think so.
And I mean, for me, some of the classes, like there's classes like here's how to use Photoshop. So granted, yeah, you can learn that somewhere else, or you can learn that online. But then there are those classes like art classes or design classes and storyboarding classes. Those are the ones that really count. And
a lot of learning color theory and stuff like that. There's a reason why these colors all look great together. There's a reason why you take Photoshop, just spacing or alignments, the way everything looks on the screen. You don't have to go study this many years to know how to do that. I mean, you can take a lot of those design classes, especially for the art side of it, and you can still learn a lot that way. So,
and I think one thing that I've noticed with you guys are proof of concept, the fact that just going to class, you met in class, and you were able to network together. I think that's one of the things that a lot of online studies and stuff, they kind of lack on.
Absolutely.
And that's where like the game jams and the little networking events like the Omaha Game Dev group meeting, and even Lincoln has a new game dev group meeting. I think that's definitely a resource that's handy, especially if you are taking them online.
To me, I think, knowing somebody who already has a leg up on you and knows how to do stuff, just learning from that person, be it somebody in some sort of meetup community or something, coupled with a game jam. Game jams are by far the coolest and most brilliant things ever, especially if you want to make games. You just team up and the ideas are limitless, and you learn so much so fast just with working with people. I highly recommend going to a game jam.
What was your guys' first game jam?
Oh shoot, it's actually here in Lincoln.
The first ever Games Plus.
Okay.
Yeah,
2011, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And that's when we came up with. What's really cool about game jams. We go to game jams kind of to make a baby. That's all it is really. Like, we go there because we know at the end of the day we're going to have something we can flesh out later. We can sit around for weeks or months. You're like, well, maybe we can make this kind of game, or what if we did this? But when it comes down to you have 10 hours or how many hours of a game jam, you go to it, and you have to think so fast. And sometimes that's the best way to actually get your ideas across more efficiently. You cut out all the fat. You go how much time you have. Boom, boom, boom. And since then we've had a lot of great ideas. And our first one was Block Monster. I don't know if you know about that. It was very simple, very rudimentary. It was our skills weren't that great at the time, so like blocks. Okay, right. I like drawing monster blocks. So we just combined the two, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
And then that was our first. I mean, I think we won best graphics, and that was on that one.
But next year we went to another monster game. Then there was the next year was in Omaha.
Every time we go there, we come out with something awesome, and that's what so many monsters actually came from the game jam. We 10 hours. We fleshed out the idea of platforms and throwing monsters up there, and came up with a little premise, and then months later we started working on it.
After you get done with the game at the game jam, how long until you realize that, maybe we should revisit that, or it's an actual valuable product?
And this is also a great thing, is being a community. The gaming community is very valuable, because after the game jam, it kind of sat there, I think, until we actually showed it off, or we mentioned it to a lot of
ODA, and then even just fans that are like, this is
and they're like, okay, this is cool. And they're like, okay, this is kind of cool. We could probably make this into a game. How long would that take? With Block Monster, we took actually 2 years. We just wanted to see what it would take to make a game. We kind of just took that game, stripped it apart, and we just spent so much time just working on it, just learning like, how can we do this efficiently? How do we do this? Come up with a prototype. And then, after we got a lot of those under our belt, we're like, okay, let's take a project and make it more, fleshed out.
Fleshed out, yeah, because pretty much right after that, we had the idea, we need to come back to this. Because we were working on Feral Planet at the time, and it was kind of an indicate thing where, okay, we still got to submit, or we got to visit this game after we think about, after we worked on Feral Planet a little bit, we need like a break game. This was our
So
break.
feedback and actually letting people play is, the most important thing you can do after that. And that's, it's inspiring, because if no one even, it's okay, I'm not going to want to go back to it. If you're not cool with it, I'm not cool with it, because I don't make games just for me and Luke to play in our rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
We want to share it out, and if the people that we want to share out doesn't like it, then it's kind of a waste. So
Taking the break between working on Feral Planet that you've been working on for 2